Welcome to That's Life. I'm your host, Marcia Boyles, and as always, I'm very pleased to be introducing my co-host and co-producer, Kathleen Taylor, who is also our social work manager.
Hello.
Hello yourself.
We're back.
We are back after 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
We've become renewed, I think, and reinvigorated
That's
in our
right.
program.
That's right.
We also have some new characters,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to show one of those new characters today. That is Gretchen Kitt, who is playing a character called Wendy. Now we're also going back to Homer, who's an old friend, and those two are being interviewed by Ann Talley, our clinical social worker in Neighborhood 3. Kathleen, you then have 2 vignettes.
I do. I'm going to be working with Mrs. Gardner, who has had a couple of other concerns, and she's going to be following up with me today. And then Pansy is going to be visiting me, and I'm just going to be waiting to see what she's bringing because she always has something interesting for me. So
Interesting is probably a very kind word. We call her Ditzy. Oh, she's always a wonderful character. We look forward to Pansy.
Exactly.
I think with that, Kathleen, then we will start our vignettes.
Hi, Homer. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Bless your heart, you're very good at looking after me.
Now, what?
I brought you some candy.
Oh, well, thank you. I'll set that aside for later.
Okay.
So what has it been, about a month now since Wendy's passed away?
Yes, right, yeah.
Okay.
And
Tell me how you're doing.
doing all right. I'm doing okay. I cry a lot, and I'm thankful for that.
Yeah,
a lot of people can't do that.
that's part of the grieving
So,
process.
you know, I experience sorrow every day. It comes in waves. I don't see the wave coming. It washes over me. I cry, and then I'm okay until the next wave strikes. Sometimes it goes a day, but usually it's a few times every day.
Well, you're grieving the loss of your wife. So tell me how you're doing and how you're spending your day. Are you getting out in the community?
I am. I have volunteered at Channel 6.
Oh, good.
That will get me up. I'm planned to get there just about every morning, unless I have a conflict of some sort. So that will get me up and out of bed and out, dressed and out. I'll be getting to the fitness center a couple or 3 times.
So you're getting some physical activity. That's good.
So I can stay busy. I do the Sudoku. I do the crossword puzzle. I walk the halls. I walk the grounds on nice days. I chat up the residents. I chat up the locals. Take a nap. A good nap is quality time for Homer.
Good.
I've got a lot of things on the bucket list.
Okay, good. So how are you sleeping?
Good. Sleep fine, yes.
Okay. And now has hospice followed up with you as far as their bereavement support groups or any visits with them?
I got I got a telephone call. I've not followed up on that, but I did get the call. I did get invited. You know, these conversations one-on-one, I have a lot of one-on-one conversations, which help a lot. I'm not sure how a group bereavement, I'm not sure, but I'll show up. You know.
Spent a lot of time caring for Wendy, and I'm just concerned and wondering how this is all of a sudden to be on your own and have all this free time.
Yeah, there's a sense, excuse me, there's a sense of loss, but also, as we've talked before, a sense of regret and some guilt. Totally irrational, but these things tend to gnaw at me. The tough guy who was going to keep Winnie safe, protect her, and of course I lost her. And,
it was a very difficult situation.
And I wasn't easy. I think of all these things that I should have done to just make life easier for Winnie.
I think you're being too hard on yourself. You did the best you could with a very difficult situation. So I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not, but we do have a mental health provider through the medical center, Pat Ferrari. Are you aware of this,
Yes.
Pat Ferrari?
Yes, the Erickson Advantage nurse, she suggested that maybe I would do well, so I have seen her once.
Oh,
Yeah,
great,
and she's
good.
got me on a tether of some sort, I don't know, a couple week,
Okay,
2-week
good.
tether or something like that, yeah, so,
Good.
and that's helpful.
Good, so you have somebody you can follow up with and visit regularly.
You know, yeah, and she knows what button to push and when to push it, and I cry again, as I probably will before you and I are done talking this morning,
Okay,
right?
that's good. I'm glad to hear that. So
Yeah.
you're keeping busy and...
Yeah, and a lot of things that that I've got planned.
All right. I'm glad to know that you're keeping busy. I wonder, though, if it's a little difficult for you to stay in the apartment.
Yeah, it is. That's why Channel 6 is a good thing, and it gets me up and out. There's so much great common space here on the grounds. You can walk around and chat people up, but find a place if you want where you can just sink in, read, write, listen to the quiet. So
it sounds like you can be with people or you can be alone.
yeah. I'm lonely in the apartment alone, but I can be with a crowd of people and just kind of withdraw and get lonely again. I've experienced that too. But it's just good to get out and see people and talk with them.
So I just recommend that you continue to follow up with those appointments with Pat
Yes.
and continue to do the activities that you enjoy and follow up with your regular medical center appointments and then
Yes.
come back and see me in a few weeks because I just
Yeah.
want to know how you're doing.
Yeah. Well, yes. I'm gonna. If I didn't have an excuse to come talk to you, I'd miss you. You see.
Oh,
Yeah. So
All right.
no, I'm going to be okay. It's all right.
I'm sure you will be. All right. It's always good to see you, Homer.
Yeah. Thank you. Three, two, one.
Hi, Wendy. It's nice to see you. I'm glad you called. And
Oh, thank you for letting me come. I really wanted to just have a chance to chat about not feeling so good about living alone anymore.
tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, it's been 6 years since my husband died, and at first I thought, oh, I have the freedom to, sleep in or go to activities that I wasn't going to before because I was concerned for his care. And now I sometimes wonder, so I get up and get dressed and have breakfast, and now where am I going? What am I going to do with myself until dinner time when I usually join some friends?
Okay. So tell me, what kind of activities do you like, or what are some of your interests?
Well, I used to visit at Garden Ridge, and just to chat with people. I wasn't part of a particular program. I wasn't pushing wheelchairs to beauty shops, but I was just there to visit somebody who might be feeling lonely.
So volunteer work, and you were
Yeah.
visiting with residents
Yeah.
at Garden Ridge? Okay.
And that helped me feel less lonely.
Oh, good. Okay. And anything else that you're interested in?
Well, I keep looking at the Mexican train dominoes
Okay.
and wondering what that's like and whether I could do that. Or I'm not a particularly competitive person, and so if it's a high-powered thing and you got to get so much done in such a period of time, I think I'd be uncomfortable. So I guess I better go visit and see what it's like if I'd like to be part of that.
So what do you think is keeping you from doing the volunteer work at Garden Ridge?
Well, first of all, it takes a little longer to get over there now, and I have a rollator.
Okay.
But I like to walk outside. When there's a chapel service, I prefer to walk outside if it's a nice day.
Okay.
If it's a nice day.
Okay.
So, but it's getting longer to Garden Ridge these days.
Yes, it can be a long walk. Okay, so let me just ask you just a couple little social work questions. So you're able to fix your breakfast and lunch? Are you able?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it might not be much, but it's something, and I don't mind eating.
Okay. And getting up, getting dressed in the morning, is that presenting a challenge for you, or are
It's
you okay?
No, I'm making that happen.
Okay.
That's good.
And what about your medications?
Yeah, I have a list for breakfast, lunch, dinner, bedtime.
Okay.
And so I can check what I've got against the list and be sure they're lined up right.
Okay. And getting in the shower and getting in and out of the shower?
Well, yeah, my husband had heart surgery and he got a shower bench from that, so I have that in the shower, and that really helps because I can either lean against it or sit on it and just let the waterfall come.
Okay.
But it's sometimes, you know, if something happened in the bathroom, I guess there's a pull cord, so
Yeah, you'd use
I
your
could
pull
get
cord.
security there.
So Wendy, this is what I'm thinking. I would really like for you to come back and see me for another visit, but let's just start
Sure.
today with this suggestion that I have, because I think you're missing the volunteer work and being around people. But I'm wondering, and you tell me if this is true, that your hesitancy in doing the volunteer work is the distance back and forth to Garden Ridge.
Yeah.
So the suggestion that I have is Home Support has a service where you could hire either an escort or a companion to help you get back and forth to Garden Ridge. And they can just walk with you, or if it's those days where you think that maybe it's just too big of a challenge, you could, you know, maybe have a wheelchair escort. But I think for you, maybe just having the companion walk to Garden Ridge with you and come back until you're more comfortable and
I
see
think
if that's
the
something.
exercise would be good.
Okay, do you want to try something like that first?
Well, let's. How do I do that?
Well, let me see. I think I have brochures here. So you call Garden Ridge and talk to them. The phone number's here.
Oh,
I mean, to
Garden
Garden
Ridge.
Ridge. I'm sorry, to Home Support.
Home
You call
Support.
Home Support
Okay.
and tell them that you would like to have a companion go with you to Garden Ridge for some volunteer work.
Maybe once a week or something. It wouldn't have to
Yeah.
be too much.
Right.
Good. That's a good way to start. Well, thank you, Ian.
Yeah.
I
And
appreciate
then let's set up a time, maybe 2 weeks from now, same time on Wednesday, and you come back, and I think we have more to talk about.
Good.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
Oh, thank you.
I'm glad I came.
Okay.
Hi, Mrs. Gardner. How are you doing?
Hi, Kathleen. Thanks so much for seeing me before my first visit to the neurologist to determine whether I really have a diagnosis of Parkinson's. But first, I'd like to explain the glasses.
Okay.
I fell the other day stepping up on a curb. I know my foot has been dragging, but I don't think it has anything to do with this perhaps
What's
the
going on,
diagnosis.
yeah.
I think I just did not see how high the curb was.
Yeah.
But I have two black eyes, so
Oh.
I'm keeping my eyes covered for right now.
So you're in celebrity mode now.
Yeah, I'm not going Hollywood. I'm just
So when's your doctor's appointment?
next week on Thursday, I think.
Okay. So how's the nerves?
Terrible.
Terrible.
I'm nervous. I'm concerned. I'm trying to figure out how I can beat the tests or whatever because I don't want this to be real. I want him to say it didn't really happen. Not that. I keep thinking about what do I need to do next? How am I going to tell my family if this is a fact? What do I have to do next? Do I have to prepare for a caretaker? Do I have to get my papers in order? Do I have to revisit my will?
Okay. Whoa. Let's do something to help you to sort of slow things down a little bit.
Okay,
I think it'll
that's
be
what I'm hoping for.
helpful for every day. Sounds like the thoughts just keep coming and you don't
Exactly.
really know how to stop
My
them.
mind is just going everywhere.
Yeah,
It's
and you're-
difficult to sleep, or I get up in the middle of the night and start worrying again. I understand I have no control over it, and that's what I
That's
hate.
hard. And I see where what you're doing is what we call catastrophizing. You're
Oh,
getting,
okay.
there's a word for it. You're just immediately going to the worst place you can possibly get to. And that's sort of what happens when our
Right.
thoughts run wild anyhow. So, so what I'm going to try to do very simply for now, and we can do some different things later, is to just get you to focus on your breathing, because that's going to help you to relax.
Okay.
And that's going to hopefully have the effect of slowing down your thoughts and keeping you from kind of spiraling out of control.
That would be wonderful.
Okay, so what I'd like you to do is to put a hand on your stomach.
Okay.
Okay, and to relax your shoulders. We tend to keep a lot of
Scrunch.
tension in our
Exactly.
shoulders, so we scrunch them up towards our knees or towards our ears. So we are gonna just. What I'd like you to do is breathe in through your nose and feel your stomach push out, and then breathe out through your mouth and bring your stomach in towards your spine. And we're going to do that a few more times, probably we'll try the count of 5, and then out. And just say breathe in your head, just sort of say breathe. Out. And then back in, relax your shoulders. One more time. And in. And what I would say is if you could, it's going to take you some practice to be able to really get good at it, so that you can kind of overcome the anxiety when it starts to build up. So I would say practice, maybe 15 minutes a couple of times a day, to really just get to where you can feel yourself relaxing, and focus on keeping yourself as relaxed as possible, the shoulders, feeling the air, pushing your stomach and your hand out, and then feeling your stomach come back in. So just really focus on those physical sensations.
Okay.
And if the thoughts keep on sort of encroaching, then maybe you can add just the word breathe.
Okay.
We can work on a focus word later. There's other things we can do in terms of guided imagery too. But this is really helpful because it's something you can do anywhere. You're in the waiting room at the doctor's office, you can do the breathing, and just to help yourself feel as calm as possible. So, we'll start with that, and then you're going to come back and see me and tell me how things went with
I'll
the
make an
doctor.
appointment after I see the doctor and get the test results.
Okay, that's
And
good.
thank you. I think just talking with you helped me to relax a
Good,
little bit.
Good.
Thanks very much.
And this does put some of it in your control. Like you said, you were
Yes,
feeling out
exactly,
of control.
exactly.
But the breathing really does kind of center you. So good luck, and we'll see you after the doctor's appointment, okay?
Thanks so much, Kathleen.
All right. Bye-bye. I'm sorry. Pansy,
Isn't this awful?
what happened to you? I'm afraid to ask.
Well, I'm in Lois's scrapbooking class, and we have such fun there. And
Scrapbook
we
blew up, did it?
No, that would be terrible. But I feel like I'm creating history. I paste pictures in the book, and they let me use my crayons except the black one. But anyway, I just love it, and I pasted in with Elmer's glue. And so all of a sudden, in class this morning, I realized my Elmer's glue was gone. So I just took the next bottle, and it said epoxy, and it same first letter as Elmer's. So I thought, okay. So you know how you're pasting stuff in, and then you kind of scratch your head, or you do this. And all of a sudden, I realized I had all of these things attached to me. And then
Man, they're really in there.
yeah, then I read the bottle, and it says the epoxy glue is permanent. Do you think I'll look like this the rest of my life?
Well, no, we might just have to
Don't say shave my head. I don't want to.
cut them out. No, no, no. Well, you know, what I can do, there's nothing like Google to be able to
You're
do a
right.
Google search and figure out if there's anything that we can do
I knew
to
you'd think of something.
remove,
I knew it.
to remove, I know, you didn't know this was one of my skill sets,
No,
did
no,
you?
I didn't,
Is to
no.
be able to do this. So let me just go online and see what I can find out. It should
Epoxy, E-P-O-X.
Got it. So, how to remove epoxy from hair, right? How's that? Okay, so seems like the two things that would make the most sense would be, do you have nail polish remover? No?
Oh, I might. I don't think
Okay,
so.
but vinegar. You probably have vinegar, right?
Yes, of course.
That's a surprise, but vinegar is apparently supposed to help. So if you can just, you know, get some vinegar and rub it around in there, and I don't know how it'll come off the clothes, but it should dissolve. What they're telling us in good old Google is that it'll dissolve the epoxy.
I have total faith in you, Kathleen, and in Google. I'll do it.
And it'll work, right?
Okay.
Let me look at these pictures.
By all means.
Wow. Who's the
This-
person? Who's the person in the with the
That's-
hula hoop?
That's my grandfather and an aunt. And this is me as a little kid.
You are cute.
I know.
You're still cute.
Yeah. I think-
Very cute. So anyhow, you're probably gonna get some questions as you walk back home.
You think?
Well, our residents are very polite, so maybe they won't ask
Just smile?
questions. Yeah, just smile.
I'll smile too.
There you go. Okay, we got a plan. Let me know how it goes when you get home.
Thank you.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back. Those were most interesting vignettes, and certainly all very different, Kathleen.
I know.
Different than we've had, I think, at all. Let's start with a discussion of those that Aunt Tally did. That was Homer and our new character, Wendy.
Wendy, yeah. Well, I mean, Homer has been on this journey for a long time.
Yes.
And since his wife died, Anne's just wanting to keep in touch with him and check in and see how he's doing. And
Would that be in actuality a normal procedure?
yeah.
After all, she did work with him the entire time that he was caregiving, partner giving,
Yeah.
care partnering.
Care partnering. But absolutely, you know, that's part of what we want to do, and because we have relationships with our residents after, you know, being with someone through all that he had been going through. She's gonna stay with him. She's not gonna abandon him. He's
Yes.
not at the end of anything. He's, you know, kind of at the beginning of another part of his life. So she wants to be able to walk with him through that and help him to, if necessary, to think things through. So. It sounds like he's kind of, you know, where we would expect him to be at this stage
In terms of his grieving.
process. Yeah, and just he was saying that he really was looking to get active, and I think to re-engage in life. There had been such a period of time for him where all of his focus was on his wife, and that's what he chose to do. That's what he wanted to do. But when something takes up so much of your life that there's really not anything left, there's a huge hole then when that person is
Yes,
gone.
it would.
And so I think he's just trying to feel his way through how he's now gonna fill his life and what that life is going to look like now. And as he said, there's a sense of just a lot of emotions that he's feeling. So just to help him kind of sort that out, and it's good that he's seeing Pat Ferrari, who's our
Yes.
mental health nurse. That's an additional ear that can help him to kind of again, process his experiences. So.
All right, well, this clearly is the beginning of a long process for him in terms of recovery and grieving.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this before, but the grief process is certainly at least a year. And, you know, I think that in most cases, longer than that.
Yes.
And that's a normal, healthy grief process. That's not one that we would consider to be a difficult process at all. So I think there's always a part of the grief that's always with that person, but it's just, you know, how they then move forward in their life that we want to be helpful in.
All right, now our new character, Wendy, played by Gretchen Kitt, clearly she's beginning to experience some difficulties. I think we're not totally clear about all that she's experiencing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the thing that really struck me with her conversation is something that I hear from a lot of residents is, I want to do all of this, but for some reason I just can't get there. You know, I can't get myself motivated, or I sort of don't know how to get going.
The things that I have normally been doing here, I now can't do.
Yeah, or you know, she had said, you know, I thought when I had, you know, the ability to be able to engage in all these activities that I would do them, but I'm finding myself not able to. And what I hear from people a lot is it's just kind of that a little bit of lack of energy, you know, a little bit of just, you know, that getting going is hard. So I think that what Wendy was saying, a lot of people confront. It's just a little bit.
That certainly is something we hear constantly. As people get older and older, the energy levels seem to diminish, don't they?
Right, right. And you know, when you know, you have a friend that comes in that kind of sweeps you up and, you know, takes you somewhere, or you have family that comes in, then that's kind of the initiative that people need. So I think the idea that Anne had about just having Wendy engage a companion to be that person who's going to go, hey, time to go over to Garden Ridge and do your volunteer work, that will be all that she needs. You know, that'll be just that little trigger. She's having trouble doing that for herself, so setting up that little system to be able to get her going,
Right.
I think that makes a lot of good sense.
All right. I don't think any of us would have really thought of that.
Right, right. Well, we're supposed to do it all on our own, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, there's something wrong with us if we can't do that. But, you know, it makes everybody, you know, needs that push sometimes.
Yes.
So I think that's going to be good for her, and it'll be a test for her in terms of what she sort of wants to do. And if that doesn't work for whatever reason, then, you know, I think that Anne will just continue to work with her to kind of narrow down what her interests are, and also what the barriers. And like you sort of indicated, we're not really sure what all the barriers might be, because we're just getting to know her.
Just getting a sense of her. Well, that was certainly very helpful. And again, that solution was not one we would any of us, I think, would come up with normally. Mrs. Gardner, certainly, the thing I found particularly interesting about that, Kathleen, was several of us were sitting here doing the exercises while you were doing it, and the sense of relaxation is almost immediate, isn't it? It was astonishing.
Yep. Yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah, well, lots of people.
I dare say, except those of us who didn't.
Yeah, exactly. Well, once you experience it, it's pretty mind-blowing.
It's intense, yes.
But what by controlling our breathing, and you know, you're a biologist, so you understand that the fast breathing sort of equates with a panic reaction, a fight or flight kind of reaction. You're engaging the non-thinking part of your brain, the one that's just, you know, in that survival mode. And so if you can slow down the breathing, then, you know, you're able to gain control of that process and put yourself back in your thinking brain, which is going to allow you to kind of recognize that you're not in that much danger in the moment. But really just controlling your body can do that for you, and that is kind of a surprise.
Well, it really was that it was so immediate. And I hope residents will let you know that they have tried it and are equally impressed, because I don't think the average person, I mean, I'm speaking at least for myself, had any idea that we could do this.
Yeah. Anytime you, I think that the two parts that I talked to Mrs. Gardner about were just sort of recognizing when that tension's starting to build, and also understanding when there are things that you do where you start to know, oh, I'm sort of spiraling out of control.
Yes.
Whether it's your thoughts are starting to get rushed, or everybody's got their own
Absolutely.
own
Triggers.
tells, yeah. But if you can recognize that and then
Stop
consciously
it
stop
with an intervention. No, that was quite amazing. And then of course we had Pansy.
Oh my. So funny. Yeah, she was good.
Yeah,
she was very good.
She was her usual ditzy self.
Yeah,
But I think she almost outdid herself today.
yeah. She was good. But there, I guess, the takeaway for the residents is, I'm not expecting that I'm going to have a lot of people coming to me
With that particular issue,
epoxy glue is
probably
an issue.
not.
But part of what we do, we will do research for you. We will help you do research. There's a lot of things that
Social workers being problem solvers. Yes,
and there's
exactly.
there's a lot of things that we don't know the answers to, but we'll definitely embrace the process of discovery and partnering with you to figure out if there's a solution out there. And thank goodness for Google.
Absolutely. Last night, or yesterday, the social workers came and actually managed to put a little piece of tape on the back of my latch, and so it doesn't now click at night and make my dog bark. So they actually solved a major problem.
The social work team did that?
Yes. Ann Talley and her intern came and put a piece of tape on there, and it absolutely solved this problem that I've had now for 6 years. So
that's good for us.
Absolutely. So
I hadn't heard that, so that's great.
Well, I will attest to the problem-solving capabilities of the social workers. Yes, I mean it's really quite wonderful.
Yeah. We like to be creative. So.
Well, it's just nice to know that there is somebody that we can go to and say, I have this issue and I don't know how in the heck to solve it.
Yeah.
So yes, it was fun.
Good.
Well, Kathleen, I see that our time is about up. Is there anything that you would like to leave us with other than what we've talked about?
No, I think we kind of covered a lot of ground.
Yes, we did. This was certainly a varied show today.
Yeah.
Well, this was fun, and we look forward to seeing you next month. Thanks for joining us today.